Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to the video. This is another paid request, this time for Curtis. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. I'll try to get to it as soon as I can. Now, Curtis had requested Season 1 and Season 3 of the show called Legend of Korra. Now, I just got done with Season 1, and bear in mind, Curtis, it'll take me a little bit to watch Season 3, but I will do it. Because after Season 1, man, Jesus. You know when you watch a show, and you're through the first or second episode, and you just go, I don't care? That was a big feel in watching this. I just don't give a shit. And then when it got to later on, when there's fart bending, yes. Yeah, when M. Night Shyamalan did that stupid movie, Avatar, The Last Airbender, I was always mocking it. The last fart bender. Well, lo and behold, there's fart bending. Now, granted, it's one scene, as far as I remember, later on, much later on, but still, one is enough. One is enough. And the rest of it is either characters I don't care for, humor I didn't find funny. I didn't think the story was that strong, not nearly as strong as the previous show, Avatar The Last Airbender, which I did see parts of that show. The first season especially I enjoyed. I grew to like the characters. I grew to be a bit interested in the story. And maybe the tried and true formula of the kid who's got to learn how to grow and the hero's journey, but that's a worthwhile journey, and there's a reason why that gets used many, many, many times. Now, granted, this is another trope where you have the cocky, bit hot-headed individual who's got to learn a little bit of lesson humility, and that could be a tried and true formula as well. Except in this, for me personally, I didn't think it worked that well because I thought the lead character was just an unlikable twat waffle. I didn't give a fuck about Korra. If I should have been Legend of Dora the fucking Explorer. I did not care about most of the characters. I really didn't care about the journey in this first season because it felt like a very boring journey where it felt there was more of a focus on this tournament with these games than of the actual big baddie plot. It felt like this, at least over half of the season, just this 12 episode of the season, it was more about this game, this tournament. And I'm sitting there going, first off, we saw bits of this tournament. I thought done better in the Avatar show. And I'm sitting there going, is this going anywhere? No, because they don't even win the fucking tournament. They don't even fucking win the thing. So to go backtrack a bit, like I said, in Avatar The Last Airbender, for what it is, I actually grew to like and appreciate it. This takes place, apparently Aang, the kid from the first show, and their friends, they ended the 100-Year War. There's peace. He did a lot of things. His time ended, and he's passed on. The other characters has passed on. Really, the only one living is Kitara, who's a grandmother, which they made her a very bland character. Aang's youngest son is the only one left, and he's fairly old, voiced by J.K. Simmons. Now, I like J.K. Simmons. I mean, he was in that other animated show Invincible. He was in Commissioner Gordon and Zack Snyder's Justice League and Batman v Superman films. I mean, J.K. Simmons was in a good movie called Whiplash. He's been in a lot of stuff. Interesting to have him voicing his character, but that character really doesn't do anything. He's supposed to be the teacher of Korra. Anytime there's an action scene, seems like he gets his ass kicked. Seems like a really wanty father figure. He's not mean, he's not rude, he's not an asshole. It just seems kind of a weak-ass pussy of a character, in my opinion. Like, it just doesn't seem like he accomplishes much. Most of it takes place in this city called Republic City. I mean, the first time we see Korra is as a little kid saying, "I'm the Avatar, deal with it." I'm like, great, she's cocky, she's annoying, she's irritating. And right from the get go, she's a master of fire, she's a master of water, she's a master of earth, and now she's going for air. I'm like, great. So from the get go, she's automatically so much better than Aang because right from being a kid, she's mastered 3 of the 4 elements. Now, I get it. You don't want to just copy and paste, do the exact same thing. I get that. But I just, whether it be I can't even say it was the voice actress. It's just the way the character was written. I did not give a rat's ass about her journey. I didn't give a rat's ass about her character. I just did not care what happened to this person. And because I don't care, it really left me just kind of sitting there going, I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck. I mean, the first episode, she's a bit older and she's being taught, and she says she needs to be taught the spiritual realm of being an avatar in order to learn more about air. She decides to leave and go to Republic City, sees that there's a bit of crime in there and homeless and stuff. She has a creature as well. This time it's a polar bear dog, which is not nearly as cool as the creature in the first show, the previous show. And in the city, there's an anti-bending movement. Now, this whole movement, which is our bad guys, there's potential to be interesting. There's potential to be intriguing with the story where, okay, you have these folks that they don't like that the people, as I call it, have the superpowers, the bending. You know, they take away our jobs because they could do more than us, and we don't like that because we need jobs too, and you're taking over all the jobs, you're taking over all the opportunities. You have some people that are either jealous or they're either mad and angry about that. I think you could delve more into that and get more interesting of a story, a plot, and about society. And there's this figure who's got a mask on. You see him throughout the season that rallies the anti-bending troops and rallies the movement, and he has his power to take bending powers away. Now, he's not really hurting the person and not really he's not killing the person, but he's just taking the power away. Now, we could make this more interesting where you don't know if this person, like, that's a bad thing to do, but at the same time, as someone once put, I forget who it was, could this be in a way the right thing to do? Because yeah, it's wrong for the people who do it for good, but for those who do it for evil, they're now on the same playing field as us, and they don't have to worry about them taking over the world with powers or taking over the world with the fire and all these other powers. Don't have to worry about the war that happened before. You could be reminded of the war, that the 100-Year War that was fought because of these firebending nations and all the regular people that were caught in the crossfire. No. Really, none of that is put into play. Instead, spoiler alert, you find out by the end of the season, the bad guy, he's another bender. He's got this power because his dad had it. And he wants to be the last guy around to have bending. That's it. Now, granted, if he's such a big deal that he's going to take away all the powers, I'm sitting there going, aren't there other places in the whole world and Earth that you could grab? Any other of these nations? I just bombard them? Like, hey, you have the power of blood bending where you control people's muscles, but can you control 100 of them? I don't know. So I just... And even then, the finale was just lame. to jump ahead, all it was is he's trying to bend Korra to do what he wants her to do. Because bloodbending is your water power, but you control the blood under the muscles. So you're. I'm like, that seems like a pretty fucking powerful power. But whatever. But then she's able to get out of it, hits the guy through a wall who falls to the water. I guess he gets so knocked out. Then he wakes up. He doesn't realize what he's doing. He just needs to get for air. And then everyone sees that he's got power, superpowers. And then they throw down their rally stuff and it dissipates. There's not like a segment that doesn't care. They still don't go along with it anyway. No, they just, boom, done. It's a waste of Lance Henriksen. I mean, Lance Henriksen is the lieutenant. He's not even the main bad guy. He's like a lieutenant. And I'm like, wow, it's Lance Henriksen, but just a fucking waste of him. Anybody could play this part. I'm like, you did Lance Henriksen for this. He barely has much dialogue. There's not much like great meat to this lieutenant that just from time to time will fight. It just happens to be voiced by Lance Henriksen. Part of me is like, why the hell did he even get? I mean, I understand he's a good actor, but there's not even like a big important character. I don't even know if we even see the guy's face at all. It just, like I said, he's not even the head bad guy. He's like a first, second lieutenant, whatever. It just felt like a waste of him as an actor. The supporting characters. You know, after the first one episode where she gets in, she stops some triad game member folks. She gets in trouble from the police force. Toph, the girl that was the earthbender that was teaching Aang how to do earthbending. This head of police force is her daughter. And she has understandable thoughts of, you know, you're wrecking the place and yeah, you're doing things for good, but there's collateral damage, all this other stuff. You need to watch what you're doing. What the hell are you doing? There's protocol. But like the other supporting characters, at least again, the first season I'm basing it on, what, by the second or so episode she meets two brothers, Bolin and Mako. If you wonder, I keep looking over here to remember the names. Bolin and Mako. The two brothers that are part of this team in this tournament. And like a good chunk of the episodes is about this damn tournament. And the two brothers, Bolin is the funny guy, and he's always funny. And he's even to the point where he sees his brother maybe kissing Korra, and the guy cries and runs off while his fucking wrists are limp. And the other guy, Mako, I recognize the voice. That's David Faustino. That's the guy who played Bud on the TV show Married with Children. Love and the Marriage. That's the son, Ed O'Neill's son. David Faustino, he plays Mako. And he is pretty bland of a character. I dare myself to try to think of three things to describe him. Other than he's Bolin's brother. He's part of this team. And they try to put this love triangle, which I'm sure we'll move even more for, between those two, Mako and Korra, and this other girl. Asami Sato. And these characters aren't interesting. They don't have much personality that I at least give a fuck about. I just don't give a shit. I can't help it. Yeah, I'm trying to explain why is I don't give a shit. Because I don't think the writing's as interesting. I don't think the action's as quick, as but well paced as the previous show. If I'm basing first season to Avatar: Last Airbender first season, first to first, I felt there was a bit more of this ball rolling in Avatar's first season compared to this. And also, I don't care for the music. I'll they try to do this weird thing that because it takes place, sometime after the previous show, but they play this old timey music like from the 1930s, like jazz trumpet music. At times, it doesn't fit with the look of the show, and also like each show starts with previously on, but it's done with a filter and a old radio time voice. Hello there. I don't know if anyone remembers The Simpsons, where at times I think it was Dan Castellaneta voiced a character that had like a fedora and just randomly pop up and have this. Hello there, I'm 1935. We are going downtown. I don't even remember the dialogue he was saying, but it was just recapping what happened in the previous episode. Like, for example, let's say the episode where Korra has been captured by our bad guy, and the bad guy's name is. Oh, I cannot remember the bad guy's name. I should be able to. How do I not remember the damn bad guy's name? I think because I didn't care. Yeah, I think I just didn't care. I'm like, whatever, bad guy. Now let's say he caught Korra. So the guy goes, hello there. Last time Korra was kidnapped by blah blah blah, and then she was going on to this here, and then she tucked into a cabin. Well, she make it out. Well, her friends get her there. Stay tuned for next episode, Legend of Korra. I did like something from 1928. And I'm sitting there going, this is just not fitting the tone. This is like a recap for a comedy, not for stuff, especially when they're trying to talk about serious stuff. I don't understand that choice. It comes off as goofy and silly and fucking stupid. Episode 2, Korra's bitching about wanting to stay at this temple that Tenzin, J.K. Simmons, has with his kids to teach her how to do air bending. But then by the second episode, she's bitching. She doesn't want to stay. She wants to leave and go around the island. Go around from the island. Like, previously you were bitching to stay there. Now you're bitching to leave there. Make up your mind, bitch. She goes to the arena, befriends Bolin and Mako, the two brothers. They're dodging the fire ferrets, whatever the hell their team's called. They win. Oh, Bolin has a little creature that looks like, how I put it, I think like a fox body and a little raccoon face. It's trying to like be like a ferret type of creature. Because the previous show had a bigger creature and a smaller creature. So this has that as well. I really, that's all the episode is. To introduce us to the two brothers and her to get introduced to this team, become the third member of this team, and then things are not going well, but then she helps them win, and boom, they win that game. And they're going on to try to win the tournament. Episode 3, we need to find money to continue being in the tournament. And Bolin the funny guy gets with the triple threats triad. What a name for the triple threats triad. What if it's the double? What if it's the quadruple threats? No, the triple threats. And most of it's the other two, Korra and the bland brother, Mako, looking for this guy. And at times, it feels like these folks suck at fighting, even with their bending skills. Like a bunch of people who only know martial arts and they're Tai Chi blockers, meaning they do the the pressure points. These people with superpowers and bending skills are getting their asses kicked by these henchman looking like a wannabe knockoff of the Foot Clan, dodging the fire, dodging the water. I'm sitting there going, wow, it makes the bending people suck. It makes Bolin and Mako suck. As in, you're only halfway decent in a tournament. Other places, you seem like you suck at any amount of fighting. So by that point, Bolin is with the Triads, but they've been caught by the anti-bending rally folks. And our two leads go and find them in this meeting, this rally. And our bad guy's wearing this mask, wannabe Kabuki mask. And he can take away someone's bending forever. He's not killing the person. And that kind of makes the threat seem less threatening. Because, yeah, it would suck if you had your power taken away. But if it doesn't hurt your body, if it doesn't make you sick, like your body was so used to this that maybe it becomes like your body breaks down and it was never meant to be excluded from your body, so maybe it breaks your body down, maybe it puts you into a coma, maybe like if there's some other like more dire circumstances, it would make us more afraid for the characters and of this villain. But when it really like doesn't hurt them and they're able to walk around and do stuff fairly freely, it just makes the threat not seem as dire, at least to me. So they rescue Bolin and the two brothers are getting their ass kicked by Lance Henriksen, which is funny. Like from time to time, it's his voice. Then you have the body doing all these kung fu things, and just totally different from Lance's voice. And like they don't fit. That's for me. It's weird you did Lance Henriksen to voice a character that the body within the mask is doing all this. I don't know. It'd be like if I don't know if you had. I'm thinking of it, Gene Wilder's voice or fucking. I'm trying to think of random Bill Murray or why Clint Howard. Like yeah, Clint Howard's voice and the body's doing all this kung fu stuff. It just comes off more funny than anything. And then Korra does one or two things and they leave and they make it out of there. And this is where I'm like, oh my god, I'm just not interested in the story. It feels like it's going slow. It feels very boring. Even the fight scenes don't seem as exciting as it was in the previous show. And that's where by episode 4 I was noticing the way it was opening with the kind of projector filter and the 1920s old time radio voice. Hello there. So you have this task force being made to find these anti-benders. Korra's scared because even though she went there in the first episode saying, I'm here to serve you, now she's like, no, I don't want to be part of the task force. I want to finish my training. This is when Mako, the Bland brother, meets Asami. And then at one point, Korra gets captured, and the villain's ready to do something, but he goes, nah, if I do it, you'll be a martyr. But one day I'll do it. In fact, I'll leave you for last. I'm like, leave you for last? Well, isn't there a whole world filled with benders? So wouldn't it take like years to try to take every fucking power away? You get what I mean? Because he even says, they'll rally against me and they'll all come to avenge you or whatever, but I'm going to wait till I do you last. And I'm sitting there going, I don't try to because you're the only one that can do it. That's the only thing. He's the only one that could take the power away. Aren't there like thousands and thousands of benders? So what's he doing? One by one, take away all these perhaps millions of benders. I don't know. That's the thing. Like, you don't get much of a sense of this world because most of it is take place in this one city of New Republic. So we don't really get a great deal of what the whole world is like after this 100-year war has finished. So we don't get like a good. Maybe that's what the other seasons are for of Legend of Korra, because I know there's at least 4 or so of them. But at least in this first season, you don't get much of the widespread effect that Aang and his buddies and his friends in the previous show affected for the better. Because again, for this season, 95% is in this one city, New Republic. I think that also what made it a bit bogged down because the previous show, they were always moving in different towns, different directions. Unlike this, but I did it. If you do that, or you don't just be doing the same thing over and over again, is trying to do something different. Yeah, I just don't find it as interesting. So they capture her, but then they don't take the power away and they just knock her out. So episode 5, they go back to our 3, Korra and the 2 brothers training for the tournament again. Korra is jealous of this girl going out with Mako, but Korra wants Mako, and she's being bitchy about it. You with her, but you're thinking about me, aren't you? And the guy's like, no, I'm not. You kiss me. No, you kiss me back. Bowling sees this, and he's crying like a baby bitch because he wanted Korra, and so they're doing the fight at the end, and they're now working together as a team, so they're doing the asses kicked, but then finally do work together, and then they able to win. Then episode 6, we finally finish this whole tournament thing, and it's, half the season. And the other team, the Wolf Bats, they just paid off the refs. And even though it's blatantly obvious to everybody, it's obvious to the announcers, it's obvious to the people in the crowd, it's obvious to everybody that the ref was paid off. Nobody does anything. I'm like, this is a world of benders and magic and all that. And you're telling me there's not a single thing anybody could do to stop and go, we need a new ref. You get the fuck out, you come in. Even though it's not like no one knows. Everybody even says, I don't know what the ref's doing. Like, everybody sees how and what's happened, but whatever. So the Wolf Bats, the other team, paid the shit off, and our team loses. So all this fucking time of this tournament, it didn't fucking matter because they lost at the end of the day. And they fall into the water. And then the bad guys come in, and they take the powers away from these Wolf Bats' other team, to send a message because they want to achieve equality. And that seems like it in a story that with more depth, with more not build up, but more diving into. You do really delve into some interesting debates. Is it better to have a world without powers? Is it better to have people who have no power? Is that really for the better? Because if they don't have the power, I mean, yeah, there's always ways to fuck up the world even without power. But with power, it's going to be a lot easier. And again, reference back to what happened in the past and the Fire Nation and all that. No, no, no. Instead, I mean, like I said, half of it is about this tournament that our heroes lose anyway. And like Korra tries to attack the bad guys as they're leaving in this, not helicopter, but it's a flying thing. And like she's falling down and she's like in trouble, but I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, she's mastered water, earth, fire. When she's falling, why don't she create like a tunnel of water to have her slide down? Like she could literally create water and slide it down, make it ice. Why doesn't she do that? It's like sometimes the powers, they just don't do stuff just for the shits of it. Like she's fallen to create water like this and freeze it and she can slide down. No, don't have her do that because you need the police force captain, Lynn, the daughter of the Toph from the previous show. We need her to do some stuff with these whips that she has to save Korra. I don't know. I mean, in this first season, I know she's learning, but she doesn't seem that good. So it's funny. They may seem like she's better than Aang because she's mastered 3 of the 4. But by this point, it seemed like Aang was better than she was in terms of being a hero. So by episode 7, Lin replaces chief of police. You have this new guy in there. You find out that the new guy is the brother of the bad guy, and they're both sons of this bad guy that Aang fought long ago that had the blood-bending power. The wolf bat leader, we're supposed to feel sorry for him, and I'm like, no, because he lost his power. And I don't know what's up with that voice actor, because in the previous episode and this episode, he sounds drunk. He sounds like he took a lot of points from Peter O'Toole when he was drunk. I'm just talking out. I just drank a bit of Jaeger of vodka. I don't know what the hell was going on with that. But I don't feel sorry for you. You've given me no reason to feel sorry for you. Good, I'm glad you don't have your power. You fucking acted like an asshole. You're a fucking cheater. Good. Should be a penalty. You don't fucking cheat that badly, get your powers taken away. Why the fuck am I supposed to feel sorry for him? I mean, if it was one of those where it's more dire because he's dying because of it, or he's being sick, or he's blah blah. No, but that's not the case though in this. So I have no reason to feel sorry. So we come to find out that the girl Mako likes Asami, her dad, Mr. Sato, who you think is an ally, is actually helping the anti-bending rally guys because one of those benders, the triad, killed his wife, and he wants to help with factories and weapons to give to our bad guys. Although again, you can understand Mr. Sato, like his wife being killed and wanting revenge for that, but instead of delving a bit more into making him like a gray character where he's not quite a bad guy, so you can understand his point of view and you get where he's coming from. I don't think the show did that good of a job of showcasing that. I really didn't. It's like, remember, this is Nickelodeon. We can't do that. And it tries to do some camera work where, like, the camera's going under the... Like, sometimes it does, like, CG. Like, it's mostly animated, but sometimes they try to do little CG shots. Like, a camera work where it's going under this banner or going across this... What do I call it? This new weapon. And J.K. Simmons' character, again, he just comes off as a pussy. I'm like, are you sure you're Aang's son? Does he come off as a wimpy bitch? Like, you can't do anything. You can't beat anybody up. So bloodbending is a waterbender who can take hold and manipulate fluids within the organism's body, allowing the bender to move the person's muscles. You find out later on as to what the bad guy can do. Because by the end in episode 8, pretty much not much happens other than the bad guy says, I want this bitch, and she's like, fine, you'll get me, bitch, and I'm gonna fight you, but then she gets trapped. No, actually, I'm thinking of the other episode. This episode is her friends get arrested, and she's trying to figure out what to do next, and you find out that the new chief of police is an asshole, gets her locked up and trapped, takes her to her cabin in the woods. And that's where we get to episode 9, where the friends are let out of jail and they're looking for her while Korra's trapped. and you get some flashbacks of Aang dealing with these bad guys' father, who's a bloodbender. Interesting to see a bit of Aang as an adult. That's pretty much it. And to see some of the other characters as an adult. But like I said, as I watch it, like I don't care about what's going on. I can't help it. I don't know how else to put it. I don't give a shit. So she escapes through the snow. By the time you get to episode 10, you're introduced to General Iroh, the grandchild of former Fire Lord Zuko. Weirdly enough, voiced by the same actor who voiced Zuko, voices this guy, Dante Basco. Now, I like Dante Basco. Rufio and Hook. He was in Blood and Bone. He was in The Perfect Weapon, Jeff Speakman. I like Dante Basco. But by the end here, like, he's not given much to do. I mean, you only have like maybe more seasons. He's given more to do. But in this, is like he comes in with his fleet. And it doesn't matter because the bad guys are taking over and there's firebombing and they have to try to leave and figure out what to do next. And that's where you get one of Aang's young son, was a Tenshin, has 3 kids. 2 little girls and a little boy. And a little boy, and find these bad guys, literally puts his butt on someone's face and farts. Fart bending. Fucking fart bending! I almost fucking spilled my drink because I literally was doing this way. Almost spilled the drink on my fucking shirt because I was so discombobulated with fart bending. Fucking fart bending is... Jesus Christ. And even then, like, the finale just sucks. It's just... She tipped him, he got up in a tornado of water, found out, and he's like, well, fuck. They know who I am now. I got to leave. And then the brother blows up the boat, and they're both gone. And by this point, she's lost her powers except air. And you think, okay, well, she has to start at the beginning. Kind of like Aang, where she knows air. Now she's got to learn more about water and fire and what's the other? Maybe find a way to get these powers back, and maybe improve, learn a bit of humility. No, Aang just comes back and gives her powers. Zzz, you got your powers back. And even gives the powers back to Lin, and I mean, wow, what a great plot device. You lost all your powers? Well, Aang's like, nah, actually, Ving, Shazam, you got your powers back. Tough fucking titty, what the hell else other people said. If that's the case, why didn't Aang just come back, pick the guy up and squish his fucking head or something? Or pick the bad guy up and fucking throw him like a pair of dice. Compared to with the first season, where it ended with, was it the moon spirit that Aang saves and has his big tidal wave of water, the push back on the ships cascading and push them all back to really showcase just how much of a water power he's able to summon and learn. He's able to do this crazy stuff, and you go, whoa. Okay, now I'm interested to see what happens next. Why the fuck would I be interested to see what's next in this show? What the fuck makes me intrigued by it? I don't know. I know Curtis has Legend of Korra Season 3 up. Not Season 2, he's at Season 3. Well, I should put, Aang's spirit fully restores her spiritual connection and bending abilities, and Korra, to be fair, enters the Avatar state to restore Beifon's bending abilities. So to be fair, Aang gave it to Korra, and then Korra gave it to Beifon. The original police chief. So what's that? Should she be able to do that to every person who lost their bending? Is that going to be like a moral code of, do I give it back to the gangsters? Well, no, because they'll just use it to hurt more people. Is there other people, well, what gives you the right to choose? Are you God? Are you the mayor? Are you this and that? That doesn't really come into play, though. And intention didn't really do anything. The Aang's son, who's like the father figure of Korra, the two brothers felt like they didn't do much of shit. Like, this was tough to sit through. It was tough. I'm sure just like this review, it's tough to sit through. I apologize. But this show was just tough to sit through. I didn't care much about the action scenes. The stuff in the tournament was kind of fun at first, but it just was repeated. There's the grid, throwing this and that, and it just got a bit repetitive. The first two or so times it was kind of cool, but then after that, kind of got old. Because there's certain rules you can do, and there's certain stuff you can't do. And again, even by the end, they don't fucking win it, so it felt like that tournament was not much of a fucking point to it. Again, the fact that the whole anti-Benny rally dissipates so quickly comes off as a bit anticlimactic. The music, I don't care for the wannabe like 1930s like jazz trumpet soundtrack. I don't think that fits with a lot of the visual aspects of the show. Same with the old radio timey openings to recap what happened previously. It just doesn't fit. I mean, imagine if a way the Untouchables would imagine, how do I put it? You know the Untouchables with Kevin Costner? Imagine a montage of newspapers and the type of music, which bases 1930s, but you just put that into, I don't know, Predator 2. That doesn't really fit. The tone, the feel, the realm, it just doesn't fit. Or you put that in Lethal Weapon. Or hell, you put that in Robin Hood Prince of Thieves, another Kevin Costner. Yeah, if you put the Untouchables feel music, but you put that in Robin Hood Prince of Thieves. Or hell, imagine you put like Robin Hood Prince of Thieves, everything I do it for you. You put that in the Untouchables and the soundtrack, you'd be like, doesn't really work. It just didn't work. The supporting characters were boring. I don't need to see some little kid fucking fart in someone's face. That gets you, right? Yeah, it does get to me because I kid about the last fart bender and they actually made it reality in this fucking show. You gotta be kidding me. I never really felt that dire danger for the characters. I really didn't. I really did not. And then from what I hear that they mistreated Aang, and I've heard that later on they make him out to be that he was a bad father and a shitty father, and like later on they have flashbacks that Aang was a shitty father. And I'm like, fuck you, show. Ooh, Korra's bisexual. What the fuck? I guess later on. I don't give a shit. I'm not here to watch porn. I'm here to watch a show. Don't give a fuck. But anyway, Legend of Korra sucks my cornhole. I'm not a fan. Not a fan. So I will do season 3 because that was all part of the request, but just give me a little bit of time. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.